like I need to remind you that you are here for the world premiere of If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. This is part of our premieres section. And let's see, well, I kind of want to just throw all my notes away, but and speak from the heart about this film, because this is a really special one. I feel like this film is it's a thrilling film to watch, but not in the usual thrilling way that you would watch a film. I don't know. I'm gonna go back to my notes, so I'll stop living and messing myself up. Just to say that all the programming team was so impressed with this film, the style and the structure of this film. All of these elements coalesce to generate an identification with the woman on the edge. This has a relentless story, incredible performances, and I just think that you are all in for a singular and rewarding viewing experience. I'm really honored to be able to introduce this film. I am thrilled to be able to introduce the very talented writer and director of If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. Please welcome Mary Bronstein.
For being here. I literally just want to take 1 second, just indulge me, to look at everybody in this room, because this is a lot of people. And all of my work previous to this, as most people might know, has been at a very DIY, garbage pail, warehouses, my own money kind of way. This is the first time that anybody else has paid for me to make art, and that's a big deal for me. So I want to thank A24 and Roxborough for reading the script and supporting me and making it a reality, and really giving me the space to execute my vision as I wanted it. I'm proud to say that this is the film that came directly from my head to the screen. It really feels like that to me, and I feel lucky in that way, because that's not the case always. And I also just want to say that this film is experiential. I just would love for everybody to put aside everything that they're thinking about, everything that's going on in your day, everything that's happening in the world, and really give yourself to the next just under 2 hours. And then I'll see you after. Thank you so much for coming.
Please help me welcome back up Mary Bronstein.
I would love to bring some people up. The glorious Rose Byrne. The incomparable Conan O'Brien.
Congratulations. Thank you. I must feel good to have the world premiere out of the way. I think that this is an extraordinary film. I want to congratulate all of you. I felt like when I first saw this film, I did not breathe for almost 2 hours. It is an incredibly visceral experience, and I imagine some of you felt it too. I want to ask you about what motivated this kind of exploration of motherhood.
Yeah. Well, I had a personal experience with my daughter, which I won't talk about in detail because that's her story to tell if she ever wants to tell it. But essentially, I wanted to make a movie. I'd never seen a movie before where a mother is going through a crisis with the child, but our energy is not with the child's struggle, it's with the mother's struggle. And I also was thinking a lot about the fact that as mothers, and not just mothers, caretakers, or just people in the world, it feels wrong to sort of be like, but what about me? Like, I'm suffering too, what about me? Because there's always somebody that is suffering more, and if you're a caretaker, you shouldn't be bothered with yourself at all. It should all be about the person you're taking care of, right? And that is a particular kind of emotional burnout state that I was really interested in exploring, as well as the idea of when we have bad things happening to us, and something is so bad that it can't even really be articulated. Everything else that starts to happen that's still kind of bad, but like less bad than that, piles on top of each other, so that the silliest thing can be the thing that breaks the whole thing down. And everything starts to feel equal in our mind. So like the parking issue has Linda in an emotional state that is the same as her daughter's illness. Of course, those two things are not the same. But that's the state that we get into when we have experienced trauma. And that's the other thing that the movie is about. It's about having to function in the world while dealing with deep trauma that you have no time to take out and actually deal with.
Thank you. I would love to ask you and Rose about your working relationship. Obviously, this is a role that is probably unlike any other role I've seen you in. My therapist. Well, that explains everything.
Yes, I mean, no, it's extraordinary. But we did, what was that, 4 weeks or something of like me coming over, and we just went through.
It was 2 months.
Yeah, it was longer. It was longer. 2 months, very good.
Rose would come over three times a week.
Yeah.
And we would sit at my kitchen table and really, it was more like you would prepare for theater than you're given a lecture usually to prepare for film. And it was really just the two of us as artists deciding how to take this woman from page to a real person. And for me, the goal was that at the end of the preparation, we'd be able to talk about Linda as like somebody that we know. And so it's like sort of like, you know her. Like if she goes into this thing, you know how she would act, you know. And we really got there. And Rose was generous of spirit, so much of. We had some very intense discussions, and sometimes rehearsal was just us just telling each other stories.
Yeah. Being very candid. And,
yeah.
But yeah, it was fascinating because she's in this crisis, and I was like, who was she before? Who's that person? You know, and that was always kind of I was obsessed with that. Like, who you know, before all this trauma is, and she's already at the end of the road, we meet her, and then it gets even worse and worse and worse. So it was sort of peeling back to then jump off from that kind creatively. But we had the luxury of time, which is very rare when you're doing a small movie or a big movie or anything. But we thank God, because when we got to set, we had shorthand, and we were like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, and we could just get on with the day.
Yes.
And then when did come into this film?
I didn't realize I was in the movie until I showed up. Right, won a contest. I was contacted. I'm not looking out for movie scripts or anything, but when I got a call from A24 that they wanted me to read something, I'm not stupid, so I read it, and what I read was what you saw. was very moved, and I thought there were really funny moments. And then I showed it to my wife, who is one of the smartest people I know, and she read through it and she said, I didn't know they made movies like this anymore. Like she thought it was so powerful, and it's speaking to something. As a mom of 2 children, I think it'll strum some chords for her. I want to quickly state, I feel like a complete fraud up here with these two, because I watched, first of all, Mary came to my workplace. She worked with me once I was in, and she was my drill sergeant. And then I went through this experience with Rose. I spent over 30 years talking to actors and artists. To watch someone of Rose's caliber do what she does, and you'd see her do it once. I saw her then do it 15 times. And I mean, I walked away and I thought, these are real, powerful, strong artists, and I was so moved to work with them. And it was an amazing experience, one of the best experiences of my life, just to be with them and watch them work. And I don't know how you did that and not check into a hospital afterwards, because I haven't seen any actor, man, woman, sustain that level for an entire movie. So I feel like I have to go to a hospital now, because this was the first time I watched it. And, I'm a mess. But from the bottom of my heart, I mean, they could have found 1,000 therapists. I was not, and I'm glad I could do what I could do, but the fact that these two did this is just absolutely stunning to me. I couldn't be prouder of them and happier for them.
How did you come down from playing this role? Did you take it?
Very mean to him. Very mean. Not a nice patient.
Yeah, she was, well, also, I was kind of a dick too. Just not a very emotive therapist, which was, but what's hard is I mean, I'm not a trained actor, I'm not an actor. I really do care a lot for Rose, and so it was difficult in those scenes to be so withholding, because my nature would be to say, take care of you and be a caretaker, and yet I knew that I had to, whatever she was asking for, not give it to her, and that was difficult to do.
Those things were fun. But it was such a blur. I mean, we shot it so fast and furious. I felt like we were just on this train and I didn't get off, until
27 days.
Yeah, it just felt like the momentum was there the whole time, and that was fun. And thank God we had that prep time, so we just jumped off and was like free falling the whole time. So it was wild.
I want to give the audience an opportunity to ask.
The title, yeah. I'm loath to fully explain the title, not to be obnoxious or anything like that, but the title is a riddle that the movie solves for you. But I will say this. I wanted a title that was an abstract, sort of poetic statement about the very essence of what Linda was going through. And so the title is Of Linda. Linda, it is like what is in Linda's gut. She's got nothing. She has no support, according to her. She has no resources, according to her. But if she did, when people try to help her, she is like a porcupine, like Conan was saying. So it's a title that's very much about, I need help, I need help, I need help, but don't help me, because I can't handle it. But I'm also curious for other people to have other ideas about the title, because it did come to me in such a flash.
Also, we just called it Legs.
Oh yeah.
It was always like, we're having a meeting about legs.
Legs.
So yeah.
Legs.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Yes.
Speaking of flashes, how did you kind of conceive of the light?
Of the light in the movie.
Yeah.
Okay, so where's Chris Messina? Where is so Chris and I, Chris was my DP, but he was so much more than that. He was one of my main creative collaborators. He and I worked for a year or more than a year together on the look and feel of this film. And I can never be too grateful to him because he believed in the project that much. As far as the light goes, what I knew I wanted to do was have all these different worlds that Linda is moving through that are all torturous, but they're all different. And each one of those I wanted to look different, and the way I wanted to do that was with light. So the hotel room is very dark until it's sort of revealed in its dark reality. The house has a whole other thing going on. It's sort of like the TV and the blue light, and it's the whole, the sort of cold spaceshipness of the therapy office, where it's just white and revealing. And the difference between the therapist's office and this therapist's office. And all of those things we started with talking about light. Like the stripes of the blinds coming on the therapist's face is just something that I just associate with being in therapy, and that was very important to me. Linda doesn't know what's going on. She just has the lamp that the office came with, so it looks bad in there. And then I was very interested in using expressive experimental light. So we have the red and we have the green fog, and we have the hyper colorization of the grass when she's running. And these are all, to me, part of the telling of the story.
One more quick question.
I have one. May I?
Okay, sure.
Yeah. Can you say a little bit more about the hole? I realize it's a mechanism for getting them out of the apartment, but
It's not a mechanism for getting them out of the apartment.
yeah,
It's a central part of the story. And I don't want to tell anybody how to think about it. I just know how I think about it. But the whole, when we have nothing left to give, we have an emptiness inside of us. And that emptiness is actually not empty, it's filled with all the darkness and self-hate and doubt and fear and dread and regret and everything. And we stuff it down. And the way it comes out in the world is emptiness, but it's actually all of those things. And so that to me is what the whole is, and that's why we don't really know what's going on with the whole. I can't even really explain it to you. I'll say that. But it's all ideas that make sense emotionally.
I want to thank all three of you for being here, and thank you for bringing such bold, unflinching cinema to Sundance. We're so proud that we were able to do
This is Eric from IONCINEMA.com. If you want to support us, subscribe below. For more reviews, interviews, film festival coverage from Sundance, Cannes, Toronto, you want to check out these guys on this side.